104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens. We're in the studio. It's Thursday time for Dark Side of the Stream, episode 148. This week was Jay's pick, and a little background story. The week before this, I picked a real good documentary. It's called The Jewel Thief.
Awesome one.
Hour
One
and
of
a
the
half,
best ones I've seen.
quick,
One of the best I've seen.
Really cool story.
Yeah.
Neither one of us had heard about.
Yep.
Really cool. I mean, he's a little man,
It
but
was,
either way,
it was awesome.
It was a really cool
awesome.
documentary. We both agree that it was definitely worth our time.
Incredible.
Either way, how does Jay Stevens pay me back for coming in with a really good documentary that really just, I thought was really well done. He comes with this one called Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch. It's on Netflix. And not only is it longer than an hour and a half, 10 episodes long.
And I thought, okay, it's going to be a cool documentary about this. No, it was some stupid reality show. If I were you, because you started watching it first before I did, I would have called me 10 minutes in and said, Jay, I'm pulling the plug. And I would have been on board.
I made you pay for it because it was awful. I was already 4 episodes in at that point.
No, I watched as much as I could, and I jumped ship.
So background here, we actually have done a Dark Side of the Stream episode about Skinwalker Ranch. And I want to say it was like one of those fringe documentary maker guys. And it was probably about 2 years ago when this stuff was starting to
I thought maybe it was something new here and good.
In Jay's defense, he is right, because at that point, after Bigelow owned it, Richard Bigelow, that guy the ufologist who spent billions and billions of dollars researching this stuff, which, by the way, he hasn't come out and said a word.
Yeah, where's this guy been?
That's what I want to know. Like, is he?
A few people have been quiet now, which is kind of interesting.
Like, why are these dudes not saying anything
people have been quiet?
You guys were the loudest dudes 5 years ago. Now you're just silent. Doesn't make
Tom
any
DeLonge too has been a little quiet. This is weird.
I think you're just letting it unfold. Either way, so after he owned it, it was bought by a private company. And at the time that we did this Dark Side of the Stream, there wasn't a whole lot of information about the people that currently owned it. It had been gated off, and you couldn't get within miles of the place,
which is very mysterious.
Which was extremely mysterious.
Right. That's why I was excited.
Yeah, me too. We'll come to find out, the guy who bought it just wanted to set it up for a reality TV show about the secrets of Skinwalker Ranch. It's so stupid, and we're going to get into it big time. This episode, Dark Side of the Stream, continues next on 104.7 The Cave. .7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 148, discussing the secrets of Skinwalker Ranch. So
this is a great example of why we do this program, though. Look how many hours we're saving the listener.
Hell yeah,
8 hours of their life.
Yeah, is that how much we watch? Oh my god!
Well, that's probably what it was. I didn't watch 8 hours worth. I think you did.
I'll tell you, I did watch it, but I watched it after the first episode, as like you watch them sometimes. You're like doing something and just keep it on.
Yeah, that was the way to do this.
The thing about
background music.
The thing about this documentary, it's like the classic, like UFO
finding
ghost
Bigfoot,
story,
just like finding Bigfoot.
Yeah. They're like, I see something, and then all of a sudden you see the camera, and it goes like this, and you're like, "What are you talking about, man? I can't see anything.
Yeah.
What are you? Oh, it's over there."
We heard
and
the
it's
noises.
just like this. Can you see him? He's right there, and it's just like constant. It's just like, dude, you got to be. I mean, we're not stupid.
Well, they did catch an orb, though. They did get.
They got the daytime orb, which was probably the only thing over the entire thing that they saw. Now, granted, they did have some really wild electromagnetic readings. They did test the soil because it was
something weird.
It's like a conduit of somehow.
Something is weird about that area for sure.
There is something going on
for sure.
Now, for years and years and years, and this goes back to some of the stuff that, like, when we were listening to podcasts about like the caretakers of the place and how creepy it is and all this stuff, like it to me, the picture was painted like, oh my god, this place just sounds like wild out there,
like a portal.
It's just crazy.
Native Indians have talked about this area.
Dude, there. I was like, this does not look or sound like anything you guys.
They fumbled this one, dude.
When they were like looking at rocks and they're like, "That's a petroglyph, man. It looks like an eagle." I'm like, dude, that's where the rock broke. Like, you're trying to, and this dude's an astrophysicist, man. He has a PhD.
Yeah, these guys are all.
Just goes to show you.
I fired them all. They're all
Just
fired.
because you spent 10 plus years in college doesn't make you a smart guy. Either way, we're doing Dark Side of the Stream, episode 148, discussing the secrets of Skinwalker Ranch on 104.7 The Cave. "104.7 The Cave." Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio in what might be one of the shortest episodes of Dark Side of the Stream we're ever going to do, because the documentary sucked. It's called Secrets of.
We saved you 8 hours of your life, listeners.
And I remember, and I should have known this too, because I remember when we did the podcast episode, when my mom and my aunt were like listening to this, and they were traveling across the country. They're like, "We're going to listen to all your episodes."
Oh,
and
nice.
They listened to it, and she goes, "Man, they got this really cool show about that." And on, I can't remember what network it was, which is what this is. And I was like, "What do you mean? I haven't heard anything about it." And I should have known then. It was suspect as hell when my mom started talking about it. But either way, I just, it was, you know, like you're trying to make a mountain out of an anthill is what they're trying to do, and make the best of what they got. Yeah. Now, I will say this. They did bring in a lot of experts. They brought in the Jewish rabbi guy to try to open the portal through some kind of like prayer or whatever. They brought in ufologists, they brought in biologists, they brought in archaeologists, they brought in all kinds of people. But one of the things that everyone has been told when they take over this property is do not dig. Yeah. For some reason, when you dig, it causes all these things to happen. So they finally got permission from the caretaker, because I guess in the first season they wouldn't allow him to dig it.
Yeah. That was in the first episode. They were talking about that.
But then this one they let him dig, and they did dig. And what they found was actually kind of interesting, in the sense that when they got, like, they went deep, real deep. They pulled out this black soil stuff, and they made a claim that some of the stuff in the soil could have at one point been maybe a UFO, because there's a lot of different kind of metals in the soil. There's a lot of metal in soil.
Do you think I was thinking, and do you think that maybe there's some type of underground base or something, or lab or something in this area?
I mean, it stands to reason when you look at that mesa that
a lot
something
of weird
could
stuff,
be buried under there.
There is some weird stuff going on.
The idea that they were able to like get electricity to move through the soil,
right? That's what I mean.
Conducting electricity.
It seems
is
like
also
something is going on out there. You know,
the readings change. There are some weird things happening, but again, it could be anything. I mean, when they do ghost investigations, like 90% of the time they say it's bad wiring, or you know what I mean, that are causing all these weird things to happen, and electromagnetic pulses and stuff. I don't really know. The one thing that I've always talked about, and the one thing about that area that I find extremely interesting, is the Native Americans that lived in that area for thousands and thousands of years. Their origin story is that they basically came through a rip in a dimension and were here.
Right.
And to me, that is very, very interesting, because we're talking about a origin story that's been passed down word to mouth for literally thousands of years. And now here we are in the 2000s talking about the same thing, and that the fact that maybe there are rips in dimensions there. Point is, I don't think really anybody knows what the hell's going on.
Yeah, there's something weird going on out there. This documentary did not solve it.
They did not find Sasquatch.
They didn't find anything.
Whether he was a methed out guy running through a woods,
dude,
or
that still was a good one.
But
man.
I will tell you this. After watching all this, I came to the conclusion that if there is a guy on the team with some weird name, like in Sasquatch, the guy, his name's Razor. Oh my God, this guy is badass.
Razor.
Well, guess what? This team also had a guy that was badass. His name's Dragon. So I think as long as you have some sort of badass guy on your team, like Dragon, name, Jay's gonna watch that thing. Doesn't matter how long or how stupid it is.
They can hook me. I'm easy to get hooked.
Hell yeah, he's got a dragon on the team. I'm in. All right. Well,
suggested for you, and it's got all these random pictures starring Lasso.
Lasso's on the team.
Hurricane. I'm in.
We're gonna watch how
Jay Stevens is in.
The documentary's about hay bales, but they got a guy named Lasso on the team. I'm in. We're gonna give you our reviews next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. God, 104.7 the K, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens still laughing in the studio about the
at least we got a
greatest
good
name
laugh
of all
out of
time,
this.
Lasso. So how many false flag
-2. -2. The first negative negative score I'm ever given.
anything lower than 0 I would.
I went from a perfect score last week to a negative score
yeah,
this week.
this was a bad one.
Yeah,
it was
it
a
was
really bad one. Stay clear of Secrets of Skinwalker
But
Ranch.
hey, look, we saved a lot of time for a lot of
We
people.
did. We saved you 8 hours of your life.
Yeah,
now,
we did.
again, there's a lot of fringe theories there. Believe what you want. It's you don't expect to be seen. The one thing I said there, they did have an orb during the day, which could have been anything, but it was really
pretty good, clear one.
And they actually got the camera on it. But again, anytime they claim to see something over there by the homestead too, they'd run and the cameras would shake and you wouldn't see anything. So yeah, definitely with Jay on that one. Anything less than a 0, I would give this documentary. So next week on the 149th episode of Dark Side of the Stream, I'm going to pay Jay back for making me watch this big pile of steaming.
Something good.
The documentary's on Max. It is called Love to Love You, Donna Summer. The story of Donna Summer, the queen of disco. And guess what, buddy? It's not 10 episodes long. It's only an hour and a half. You're welcome. But it's a very interesting documentary. It's put on by her kids, telling her life story. She passed away back in 2012 due to lung cancer. Unfortunate. But she had an incredible life. And the one thing that I while I was watching it, I just kept going through is she's past disco. She kept having hits. So it's really kind of an interesting thing. I definitely think you're going to like her story, especially since that most of her career, she was just talking about getting it on. So Jay's going to love that. And we will discuss it next week on Dark Side of the Stream. Like, you can always watch these live on Facebook, 9 a.m. on YouTube at 9 a.m. Listen to them as a podcast or live 9 a.m. during my show or 6 p.m. during Jay's show. As always, we watch movies,
documentaries,
or stupid seasons of documentaries.
Even if they suck.
You don't have to. It's Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.